Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
You're listening to TFG Cricket.
Good morning, guys. Welcome to a brand new episode of TFG Fantasy Cricket Podcast. My name is Nikhil, and it's an off day today. Not much happening in the cricketing world. I have Vivek Krishnan with me. So we are dedicating this episode to you guys, fans out there who have been, asking us a lot of questions via Facebook, via Twitter, mostly as a direct message because we understand that people don't want to reveal out their strategies. So we thought that we'll collate all these questions and we'll try to answer each one of them. This is the part one of Q&A that we are doing. Going ahead, we'll be taking up a lot of questions that you guys ask. So Vivek, you ready for this?
Very much, yeah.
Okay, so the first question and the most common question that people ask is, how do you select captain and vice captain? Well, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But I just give you an example that the second T20 between India and England, we pick our captain as Virat Kohli and our vice captain as Jason Roy. Okay, before touching up on this, there are various fantasy portals, around the world. We are looking at fantasy portals which has captain and vice captain as their a key ingredients which distinguish the winner and the losers. So, Vivek, Virat Kohli didn't play, Jason Roy didn't play. We got a lot of messages saying that why did you pick Virat Kohli or Jason Roy?
Yeah, I like the word you use, your distinguish, and I think it all boils down to the flip of the coin when it comes to T20 format. Look, man, it's very simple. You just go through some numbers. You just go through current form. You look at the ground conditions. You look at the opponents. There are a lot of things that go into finalizing a captain and vice captain. But at the end of the day, what matters is who plays and who doesn't. In this case, like you mentioned, captain, vice captain, they didn't perform.
Yeah.
But that's how the nature of the format is, Nikhil. I think if you talk about consistency, if you talk about longevity, I think you talk 5-day cricket, and there's somewhere in the middle there is 50-over cricket, and you talk about a frenetic pace, therein lies T20 cricket. So you really cannot read too much. You just, like I said, I mean, a gut feeling or instinct, whatever you want to call it. I think it can work to an extent, but I think on a grander scheme of things, obviously analysis helps, and I think it's the timing also. You can't be picking somebody like a Yuvraj Singh who probably doesn't get much of a head these days, and the same applies for Josh Butler. But there are days when these guys come.
In fact, we got a message saying that why wasn't KL Rahul as your captain?
I mean, look, if you I obviously can't write these things, but now that I have a platform to speak my mind, partially I would say, I'm controlling some emotions, but I'll let out some as well. I just feel if you think KL Rahul should have been in the second team, not in the first team, Virat Kohli in the third match, fourth match, Rohit Sharma, you better go play some casino, man. You'll probably end up making quite a few dollars there. But this is not how fantasy cricket works. I mean, yes, you need some amount of luck, but I think coupled with logic, coupled with analysis will keep you in good stead in the long run. So as long as you understand this and you approach fantasy cricket the way it should be, things should be fine.
Okay, I also like to say one thing to our listeners that, or our fans who are, referring our fantasy articles, that our team are basically, designed for a 5-man league or a 10-man league, max to max a 20-man league. We don't go for those grand entries where thousands of people pay.
And logic will tell you, Nikhil, if you're competing with 40-odd thousand people for a league, I mean, what is your probability? If people have done their math, if people have been good at permutations, combinations and probability in their life, they probably should know what we are trying to say. But obviously, I know there are a few unfortunate people out there who are not blessed or who are not gifted or whatever you want to say. But that's where we chip in, we try to educate them. But still, there are some people who write to us on a daily basis questioning, boss, it's very simple. You play 3, 5, 10, 20 like Nikhil mentioned. Therein lies your chances of winning because obviously many portals let 4 or 5 teams per ID, Nikhil, as you must have noticed already. And there are some portals who say, no boss, 1 ID, 1 team, 1 ID. I think that makes a lot of sense. But you talk about the word grand itself it's a lottery.
Yeah.
Like I said, you stand outside the other station, you might win someday. Do that if possible. But that's all.
But how risky it is to leave out Virat Kohli as a captain? Because I'll give you another example. Yeah. If you take Australia, most of the time our captains have been David Warner and Steven Smith. How risky it is to leave these guys? Maybe Mitchell Starc, okay, but other than that, do you see any other candidate as a captain and a vice captain?
No, I think across teams there are a few individuals who obviously stand above the rest, and you pick them, like I said, purely on reputation, on numbers. Having said that, you expect off days for these marquee players, and when it comes, you pay the price. But again, it all boils down to average, Nikhil. You can't say on day one I win, day two I lose, day three. That doesn't that formula doesn't fit in fantasy cricket at all. So I think answering your question about Virat Kohli leaving out Kohli, Smith or Warner, it's a foolish move, Nikhil, because why would you, unless you have too much money in your bank and you just want to give it away? So in that case, okay, but otherwise it makes no sense at all. In fact, the third match in Bangalore, you talk about Virat Kohli, I think we'll still persist with him for two reasons. Yep. Obviously, he's our captain, he's going to open the batting, and he's playing at his home ground. Obviously, he hails from Delhi, but because everything Bangalore is so easily connected and associated with the Indian Premier League, we say Bangalore is his home ground. So that's our logic. And if you feel you have to think otherwise, free to do. But then don't crib and complain.
Okay. Second question, almost on the same lines. Somebody asked us, why do you pick bowlers as captain? Okay, I think he was referring to Mitchell Stark or Philander.
Okay,
Philander or Saudi.
Yeah.
Who actually won us games.
Philander, I think it started somewhere in September, October last year when we started picking a lot of bowlers as captains. And you were right. Philander was the guy. Mitchell Stark, Ravichandran Ashwin came about, and Josh Hazelwood, I should say, and then Tim Southee a few weeks ago. I think, again, it boils down to conditions and the opposition also. You have to see if you're playing somewhere in Wellington where you have gentle breeze blowing across the ground, you have a lot of grass, you have a few cows waiting to graze and all that. Then you have quality seamers bowling against in a Bangladesh team. Obviously, it makes sense to pick Southee and Bolt. You won't pick Williamson because it's the conditions are not conducive, my friend. It's as simple as that. So that's how you draw analysis.
Okay. Another question that we have got
and let me also add, there are portals who give more points for a wicket, and there are some portals who are very, very frugal. But then again, you have to take a call as to where you're playing, how much money you have put in, which league you have joined, and how much do you expect in return.
All right. Okay, moving ahead, there was another question. How many all-rounders do you pick with respect to a T20, an ODI and a test match?
Test match, very minimum again. I think 1 or 2, never 3, very, very rare.
3, or you're saying the...
I'm talking about maximum. Yes.
Yeah.
Minimum is 1, Nikhil. I think you have to pick 1 keeper, 1 all-rounder. Maximum is 3 or 4. But when it comes to T20, I always say this: you pick utility cricketer, somebody who can bat a bit, bowl a bit, field well as well. And that's where I think the likes of Shakib Al Hasan, Mohammad Nabi, Darren Sammy, Andre Russell, you talk about Kyron Pollard, these guys come in very, very handy. So Ravindra Jadeja, for example. So these are the guys whom you cannot ignore. And that's where I feel all-rounders give you more points in T20s as compared to the bowlers and the batsmen.
So are you saying that whenever it is T20, fill in all the sports?
Very much, Nikhil, because you also have to see, for example, if 2 poor teams are playing and you don't have too many all-rounders to pick, you can't do much about it, right? You cannot manufacture.
Yeah. But
what you can do, again, I would like to give the example of India and England. You have Moeen Ali, you have Ben Stokes, you have Yuvraj, you have Hardik Pandya, you have Ravindra Jadeja. Boss, plenty of options. But there again, you are only allowed to pick 2 or 3. So make the right call.
Okay. Another question, guys. We always try to give you, all starting 11 players in our fantasy 11. Okay, but
probably the most difficult and I think. The toughest question to answer.
But
and I hope it's the last one, Nikhil.
Yeah, it's the last one.
Yeah.
The last time Australia played New Zealand, Matthew Wade got injured during the practice session. Yeah. And I think Matthew Wade was a common pick for everybody, but still we got a message saying that why did you pick Matthew Wade? He's not playing.
Yes. I'll tell you how stupid people actually are. Many didn't know Stephen Smith was not travelling to New Zealand. They all felt Smith would be captaining. Some were under the impression that David Warner, his deputy, would lead the show. But Matthew Wade at the last moment was given the captaincy, number one. Number two, I remember the match started around 3:30 in the morning. At 1 o'clock in the night, I saw news that, okay, Matthew Wade is fit and raring to go and everything. This was a couple of previews that I read from the leading dailies. And then in about 90 minutes, the whole equation changes. You discover that this guy is not taking to the field because of some back spasm. And then the team changes. Marcus Stoinis comes in, heroic, and you know what happened. But that's how it is, boss. Even for a captain, if Nikhil and I were the captain of India and England, even we wouldn't be in a position to, intimate you. We can't do anything about it. If I'm a captain, somebody walks up to me 15 minutes before the toss and tells me, Captain, I've pulled up something, I can't really do anything about it, can I? So, let alone miles away, sitting in a comfortable couch, analyzing, creating teams for you. It's beyond us. It's actually not possible. So these things happen. That's sport, and you have to live with it because you can't avoid these situations. There are some external factors. I mean, a very, very simple theory comes to my mind. If you're a swimmer, you have Ian Thorpe swimming on the other side. Can you do anything about it? You can. I mean, that's how it is. So you can't control external factors. You have to do what's within you. And I think we have been doing pretty good. But again, obviously, any blemish, please write to us and we'll be more than happy to respond.
Yes, guys. Concluding this episode, I'd like to say that our main focus is to give you all starting 11 playing. Okay. Second is our captain and vice captain is totally on the basis of form, record, and, the persistence on the pitch. And third is that it's very difficult if someone like Marcus Stoinis is playing. Okay. Most of our teams are for 5-man, 10-man and 20-man. Even in 20-man, there are a lot of portals who, as Vivek said, that one ID 4 teams, even that is a bit dicey. But for 5-man and 10-man, it's very easy for us to win some points over there. Absolutely. You can read our articles on fantasy cricket at thefangarage.com. You can follow us on Twitter at TFG Fantasy 11 and Facebook at Fantasy Pundit. Do write in. Your questions are really good. We would like to, we should do this, time and again where we answer.
We will, Nikhil. Yep. We will do it, yeah.
Yep. And you can listen to our podcast on Indusworks Media, Audio Boom, iTunes, SoundCloud, and definitely on YouTube. Subscribe, share, like, and comment. Till then, keep hunting. Thank you.
Hey man, just help me out, man. I need some podcast, man. I haven't had a fix in a week. Just need some.
Don't you worry about it. I got podcast galore for you, man. Just go to ivmpodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Thanks, man. I'm gonna check it out.